So a couple years ago, I started an amazing tradition on my birthday, which quickly became quite a few people's favorite yearly tradition. It wasn't even about celebrating me. I don't even think my brothers said happy birthday to me. But I got what I wanted, which was people that I cared about, maybe not everyone, even if they didn't know each other, coming together, sharing laughter, smiles, and some competition. The largest indoor go-karting track in the country, maybe even in the world, was opening up that week, and I wanted to check out the racetrack. So I contacted like 100 people in my phone, and surprisingly, like 20 people were interested, and every single one of us had a blast. It kind of reignited an old passion of mine, and my impulses led me here. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with this thing. You can't really ride them anywhere, and if I do a custom engine build, I won't really be able to qualify for any league races or run it on a track. So I don't know, I'm thinking of a solution for that. Maybe I'll have to get my own track someday. But I have a couple different options with this thing. I have a Ninja 300 engine right here, and this could be fun. I mean, check it out. I have a tach right here, 15,000 RPM. That could be fun, guys. That could be real fun. It could. On the other hand, we have a Tilson 212 Stage 1, which came off of here, and a couple other options. I also have a couple other carts. So if you want to see this build series, hit that like and subscribe button, show your boy some support. I really don't know what I'm going to do with this thing. I do know that if I need parts, I need a reason to turn them into business expenses. Who knows? Maybe I'll build 2 of them and give 1 away. How's that sound? Drop a comment. Let me know if I get enough interest. I'm not opposed to building 2 of them. I have way too many engines laying around, and that could give a couple of them some purpose. And like I said, I need to rack up those business expenses. So we can talk about that on my other channel, No More Nonsense, where I'll talk more about business and how to maximize your earning potential from the skills that you already have. But here, we're going to focus on different motorsports, and I want to show you the reason, the first race that reignited this passion, and also what I think could be a great activity for you and your friends to duke it out, have some fun, and learn a couple new things in the process. Alright, so here we are, Supercharged Entertainment, and this is apparently the largest indoor karting complex in the country, so safety first. Once I'm all buckled in, they fire us up. You hear these things, and honestly, everyone who showed up was super excited. We came from about an hour and a half away to check out this racetrack, and let me tell you, it was definitely worth it. So let's get out onto the track here and do a quick hot lap, let you get a feel for what this track is all about. We start off with a long banked U-turn here into this little straight, and honestly, all the lights, the reflective surfaces of this track is really cool. Now that little straight leads to this little right turn, which forces you to shift your direction the wrong way before this left rising corkscrew with a slippery surface. So it can actually be tricky to navigate and keep yourself from sliding and scrubbing your speed before you have this steep uphill grade to climb. And this bottleneck's up at the top. Now on the second level, we have a 90-degree right turn, which goes straight into a U-turn that banks left, and then another that banks right again. And I can already tell that this is going to be a great area for passing people. And this part is really cool because this bank turn is followed by another right-hand bank that then points you downhill into a left-handed corkscrew and back on to grippy asphalt, straight into a tight, flat, left-handed U-turn, and then directly into the same thing on the right-hand side. It's followed by a little straight that ends in a hard left, bumpy downhill drop, and into another tight right-handed U-turn. And that is the entirety of track 1. There are 2 tracks, and on certain occasions they do connect them to make one giant track. How much better could it get? And both tracks are very different. The carts even had a little boost button, which I had no idea how to use until the very last lap of my last race. But if you want to see that boost button put to use, hit that like and subscribe button so that you can see when the video on track number 2 comes out where I was boosting it up. So they finally turned up the speed on the carts, and to be honest with you, at first I was pretty timid. I don't know why. I think I was getting to know the facility, getting to know the go-karts a little bit. I didn't want to be too aggressive, and then I pulled up and got stuck behind my first opponent. And okay, at first not so bad, but I realized they're moving pretty slow, and yeah, at this point it's pretty weak. I'm pretty much just driving on the track here, and you can see that this person is driving pretty lazily, and he was definitely taking up quite a bit of the track, so I knew I had to make a pass on him. And then all of a sudden it clicked. Making that pass activated something in me. I was like, wait a minute, I know what I'm doing. I have plenty of experience on the track and abundance on all different types of vehicles. It's just been a while. Why am I holding back? So then the race changed up a little bit, and then I started to have a little bit more fun. And honestly, from this point on, I made it my personal goal to try to pass everyone on the grid, which I almost achieved, with the exception of my brother, but I did run a faster lap time than him. So now I've finally gotten into some traffic, and with a tiny attitude adjustment, I was actually pretty excited. This is right where I wanted to be. I wanted to be in a position where I could make passes. And you'll probably see me taking quite a few unorthodox lines. Yeah, maybe yelling at people, because I quickly realized a lot of people aren't here to really race. They're here to just drive on the track. Which meant, hey, I was just going to have to race a little bit more aggressively. So I took my opportunity. I was like, I'm going to pass both of these guys right here. One on the inside, one on the outside. Easy. After that, I would have a clear track in front of me to really start closing some gaps. And I knew that if I could just get my speed up a little bit, that with the experience I have, I'd be able to carry that momentum all the way through the grid and really start making some fun passes. You can see the apex of these turns with no problems. But anytime you pull up behind an opponent or a group of opponents, you may deliberately want to leave a little bit of space so that you can see where your opening is going to be. I found an opening on the right here where I passed my love, and another opening on the left where I'm working on passing my brother into the next corner. And now I'm finally in a group of people who are moving a little bit quicker, which means now the margin for error is a lot smaller, and any little mistake that anyone makes is going to give you a bigger advantage to make a pass on them. You might run into a pileup like this where they slow all the carts down, but it only lasts a moment, and even through here, make a little pass and now get into position to work your way through the crowd. This guy right in front here is following the exact same line as everyone else. And as you can see, even through that slow turn, outside of the apex, he slid out a little bit. So I left a little bit of space to analyze what line he was going to be taking, because if you're following too closely behind, then every little abrupt adjustment that you have to make because of the other person's mistake is going to cost you exponentially. And if you notice, taking the opposite line and leaving a little bit of space allows you to make the pass nice and easily as you anticipate their next mistake. As you can see, the next guy was following too closely and gave up his position because of the adjustments that he had to make. And now that position's yours because the upcoming turn goes to the left, all because you were in position. And you may have to tussle it out a little bit, but being behind him already, you can already tell the will of an opponent by the way they're driving, so you take that position. Now, the opportunity isn't always right. Here we have a perfect example of someone who's moving very slowly but taking up a vast majority of the track. You may even see some desperation in attempts to pass, but you always want to remain calm. It's always better to stay calm and keep your inputs nice and smooth. You also want to keep enough space between you and your opponent, because it's only a matter of time before that opening is going to happen for you. And see, there's a reason we're on the left, because he's on the right around a right hand turn. It gives us the inside on the exit, and that's where you make the pass. Making a pass like that also creates a good amount of distance between you and your opponent once you're in front of them. So here we are with some open space on the track again, and you know what that means. It's time to close some gaps. And now we're finally closing the gaps between us and the fastest people on the track. And as you can see, it's not taking long. Every corner is inches closer, and that's where you want the magic to happen, in the corners. Over here smashing that boost button like something's gonna happen. But we have a little stoppage, so let's skip ahead real quick. Alright, so we're finally moving again. And you're bound to get stoppages, especially in late races. They usually happen when someone breaks the rules. But now, we have a limited amount of time to catch up to some of the faster racers on the course, which happens to be one of my best friends and my brother. So from this point forward, we're just going to go straight into attack mode, because it looks like they're making their way through the grid as well, and we have a few people that we need to pass first in order to get to them. Despite the urgency, we want to keep our inputs nice and smooth and stay nice and calm. Analyze your opponent's mistakes ahead of time so you can pass them like they're not even there. That's one down, and the second one is really not that far off. Taking the same approach, we adjust our line and take the inside, and now we're behind one of the guys we wanted to catch up to as he makes a mistake and spins out. Now the position's yours, but you think we're going to stop there? Nope, one more pass before they call the race. And there goes my brother right in front, right where we started. He doesn't know how much trouble he was in. With one more lap, he definitely would have been behind us. Let's check in back at the shop and see what ideas we can come up with for this upcoming custom kart build before we get on to the more interesting race number 2. Alright, so I've got this thing out and I can finally get a good look at the condition that it's in. And man, is it dirty. Man, is it bad. This is exactly how I purchased it a couple years ago. And the more that I look at it, the more that I realize this is going to be a bigger job than I initially assumed. But overall, not so bad. I really don't even know where to start with this thing. So I guess if I'm going to start anywhere, I'll start by giving it a bath. And then we can at least see what we're working with here. But I do know mechanically it's going to need a lot of work. Brakes don't function whatsoever. All of these plastics are faded and worn. We have some rust. We have some scratch. A missing front and rear bumper. And it's really just nothing that you can be proud of right now. This thing's kind of awkward to push around. Not that heavy. It's really low though. You can really start to see some of the flaws that this thing has. But what it also has is potential. Let's take a closer look here. You can see how much dirt is accumulated on here. I mean, even just, yeah, a fingerprint. Got a little bit of rust forming. That one's a little worse there. The wheels look like they're in good shape. Gonna get in there, clean that up a bit. Yeah, check it out. Definitely have some stupid stickers to remove here. Steering wheel's not in bad shape. It needs to be lowered, for me anyway. As you can see, there's no real seat, so maybe we'll get creative with this. I'm 140 pounds and I can't even squeeze into that one, so. We'll have to figure out a seating situation. Check back here in a couple minutes and this thing should be clean enough for us to start putting a vision together. While I'm cleaning this thing, let's go check out how race number 2 went. And I'm not really going to say much in this one. I think I'll just put some music on, focus on a couple highlights, and just let you get the feel for some good racing in one of the simplest forms. And don't forget cheap. this can be one of the cheapest and easiest ways to get your thrills, and it can really be quite thrilling depending on how you ride and how competitive you are. Let's make this one quick. They always start off the karts a lot slower until everyone is on the track, but I gotta say, for electric karts, these things do boogie and they're quick enough to have some fun. But in this race, I did notice that with slower people on the grid, my kart's overall speed was not as high as it was in some of the previous races. But the truth is, you don't need speed to have some good racing. If you have a machine that makes good sounds and a competitive grid, you know, a few others with really close performance characteristics, then you can have a ton of fun. This race was a little less competitive, missing a few people from my group, and obviously the addition of random strangers, which slowed everyone up quite a bit. So I think I've said enough. Let's jump ahead to some of the slowpokes taking up space on the track. Fortunately, Chicken was not hurt in the making of this video, but I cannot say the same for the girl that he hit and the feelings of her boyfriend who just tried to return the favor there. So a friendly reminder, as fun as it is to crash sometimes, just remember to be careful because you can get seriously injured participating in these activities. Let's run that back, check it out from my perspective one more time, and I'll also have his perspective, which should help give you an idea of how hard that impact really was. They pulled both of those karts off the track and that girl was done racing for the rest of the day. Now in slow motion so you can really see how he sent that kart flying. And that wasn't the only crash, check it out. Well, look who it is. It's Chicken again. I don't think any of us are surprised to see that happen. We were certainly having a whole lot of fun. And it's definitely a little bit more fun when you have faster competitors on the track. In this race, we had quite a few slowpokes out there. Blow by some people, bump into some people. Making your way through traffic can actually be pretty fun. And it can also be great practice. Make some passes, have some crashes. I even yelled at an innocent girl at one point. It was all just so much fun. Yeah, she was definitely nervous and I might have scarred her for life, but I didn't care because we just lost 2 positions there. And the person up ahead is part of my group. We call him Goose. And yes, I do realize that I have multiple friends that are named after birds. But catching Goose was the only way to find peace. So that's what we set out to do. With only moments to spare, let's get it. now. Gotta get you. Keep getting in my way. And just like that, the race was over. But just because it was the end of the race and an amazing day doesn't mean it's the end of the fun. On the contrary, it's actually all just beginning. Let's go check in on that other go-kart and see how it turned out. Alright, look at that. It's not perfect, but even with a scrub, it looks so much better than it did before. And I can kind of start to get a vision for what this thing could be. I think it looks pretty cool. The chrome came out pretty shiny again, so did the frame here. I need some heavier cleaners to take care of this. I'm probably going to paint everything. But honestly, I didn't even expect the blue on the plastics to come out as nice as it did. I'm really a little shocked here. It doesn't look terrible. It's actually starting to get a little dark, and look, it's somewhat reflective. You have just a little bit of reflection, so compared to what it looked like before, this thing looks so much better. It's growing on me every minute. Scrub the inside of the wheels there. Scrub those plastics. Scrub that frame. And now I think I might actually start to have a vision for it. Man, it's so slow. And guys, just remember, if you want to see more, you know what to do. We're going to check out track 2 in the next video, have a little more fun, and hopefully I'll be a little further along with the plans on this thing. Hope to see you guys in... Whoa. Hope to see you guys in the next one. Only one person was hurt in the making of this video, so just a friendly reminder. Be careful out there, be safe, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more unique builds and motorsports fun. Catch you later.